Welcome back, friends and family. Today I'm by myself for the first time in a longer time, I feel like, or maybe, well, I kind of feel like in every video there's sort of somebody that accompanies me, either it's Luke or it's Sarah. Somebody's always there, so this time around it's just myself, and I made it to Lumpini Park. Now, not for the sake of making yet another Lumpini Park video, but for the sake of finding a place that is called the Green Mile. Now, for a lot of locals that probably sounds really silly, but Luke and I have been going back and forth to Bangkok for the better of the last 2 years. I don't know, we have been in Bangkok, I believe 7 times or 8 times maybe in the last 2 years, and we never actually managed to find this Green Mile. And this time around I'm going to try and actually find it, so I kind of feel like that is my mission for today. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, the weather, as always, is not on my side. It's kind of fizzling a little bit, which is alright, because it's quite hot at the moment. The humidity is very high, so a little bit of rain doesn't actually bother me too much, if I'm being honest, as long as it doesn't start raining like somebody opened a hose. So that would be alright. But yeah, I just checked out the sign over there, and it actually says that a lot of Lumpini Park is under construction at the moment. So it sort of looked like until the 25th of August or something like that, the entire left side was under construction, and now they're starting on the right side. I'm not really sure what is being constructed. I would have to translate the sign that was just there, that I showed at the very beginning of the video, but I didn't do that, so I'm not too sure. Might be something to do with the paths, because sometimes you can see paths are sometimes not so great here in Lumpini Park. Other than that, this park is pretty much perfect, so I hope they're not changing too much, if I'm being honest. So yeah, kind of the mission of today's video is to find the Green Mile. Now, the Green Mile is something that is I don't know, from the description and from the blogs that I have seen online, it kind of says it's a bridge that connects Lumpini Park and Bangkok Park. Now, I just popped it into Google Maps. In Google Maps, it's actually not called the Green Mile, but rather the Green Bridge, and I'm currently trying to understand how to get there. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Looks like I have to go to the right, if that even matters. And here are the paddle boats, by the way. These paddle boats here in Lumpini Park, you can take them completely free of charge, so you don't actually have to pay anything for it. I think they just give you some sort of a vest so that you don't drown in case you fall off of the boat. But other than that, it's completely free of charge, which, to be honest, doesn't really happen in a lot of other countries out there, which I always find crazy. But usually people come to Lumpini Park to pet cats and have a look at monitor lizards. Now, I already saw the one or the other cat. Haven't seen a monitor lizard yet. Sometimes it's quite funny, because in the big lake in the middle, there's catfish living in there. So every now and then, wait a second, you can see a cat down here in the distance. Sometimes you can see the monitor lizards catching those catfish and then sort of having a fight over the catfish and ripping them apart, basically, which kind of makes you feel like you're part of Jurassic Park. I have seen that before. We were here in the evening time, and Lumpini Park is full of people who work out. Oh, now you can see the construction, by the way. As I said, they're doing something with the paths. In the evening time, there's a lot of people coming to Lumpini Park to work out, so a lot of people go running. There's aerobic classes happening here that are completely free of charge too, with sort of music and stuff like that. as soon as the sun sets. And when we saw those monitor lizards taking the catfish apart, it was really, really funny because it kind of just like happened sort of here, like in the middle of the street, and the people were just kind of running around to the monitor lizards. That looked quite funny, and everybody was just behaving like it's just another day, like that's completely normal. And Luke and I were just standing here with like an open mouth, not believing what we're currently witnessing. Because yeah, I don't know, for us it's not an everyday thing to see monitor lizards like that, especially if they're larger. There's a lot of very large monitor lizards here in and around Lumpini Park. I need to pet a cat though, and I just see one here. Hello. He does not care about me at all. I have been rejected. I also don't want to bother him too much, because sometimes, obviously, not every street cat is vaccinated or something like that, so you don't really want to get bitten or clawed or anything like that by street cats. So if they don't accept that you're there and they don't give you any attention, don't pet them. Usually you see lots of monitor lizards sort of here on the sides. This time around, not so much. Maybe they're disturbed by the amount of construction that is going on or something like that. It's kind of odd not to see any of them. This here seems to be some sort of a skate park here on the left, which might also be on the newer side of life. I think I haven't seen this one yet, or maybe I have never walked down this street, which could also be a possibility, because I don't know, I feel like Lumpini Park is quite large, so every time you do come here you kind of walk a different way and you're never 100% aware of what way you're actually walking. Just this time I know that I have to walk this way because I want to get to what we call the Green Mile, but Google Maps calls it the Green Bridge. So in case you're looking for it, make sure to put the Green Bridge and not the Green Mile into Google Maps. I hope you can see that. Just here is a medium-sized, kind of juvenile looking monitor lizard. There's actually a lot more other fishies around here which I haven't seen before. Some of them are quite large actually. I don't know if you can see that here. Let's just make sure that there's no monitor lizard around here so I don't surprise somebody. This giant fish here. There's giant catfish everywhere actually down on this side, and that monitor lizard is probably waiting for its opportunity to catch one of those. I just saw some like quite large fish going down here on the right side, but I do believe that Sadika, I do believe that as soon as they saw me, they went away, because obviously I am a valid sized predator in their eyes probably. Oh, also if you're ever in Lumpini Park and you are sort of walking around the trees and stuff like that, these types of monitor lizards, especially the bigger ones, tend to climb the trees and sort of relax there. So yeah, just keep an eye open of where you're going and what you're doing. But yeah, this one monitor lizard just seemed to, I don't know if he's hunting, because he's just sort of sitting there and looking, but he isn't really doing anything. Chai, big, huh? Big one. The catfish are truly, no, those are not the, what are they actually called? I forgot what they're called. They're not called catfish. They're the ones that are sort of, they have this like little suction cup that they clean environments with. I'm not really sure. This way is okay? This way, Chai? A Green Mile? This way? Yeah? I'm not really sure with the amount of construction that is going on here if I'm actually allowed to walk down this way, but well, now I do. I will have to have a look. I'm getting closer to the access point of what it says on Google Maps. Anyway, those fish are not catfish. They have a suction cup on the bottom that they clean the algae off of rocks with, I believe. We had some of those in our freshwater aquarium when I was younger. There's a lot of security people going on at the moment. This here is a school, by the way. Swan Lumpini School, Lumpini. So yeah. Usually there's also, like, it's normal to see security. Sawadika! It's normal to see security around here. But this is a bit much. Kind of seems like... Oh no, there is a walkway. Oh my god. For a second I thought I would have to walk on the street. Not finding the way to the pedestrianized areas, basically. But yeah. Made my way through Lumpini Park. And now trying to get to the point where I can get onto the Green Mile. I hope I'm on the right path. I don't know, putting it into Google Maps was kind of the most obvious thing to do for me, because I thought it would be the easiest. But some blogs online, like written blogs I saw, they were saying that that's not like necessarily the easiest way to find it. But yeah, let's just see what happens, I guess. No, there's no big fancy sign, nothing like that. But I do think this should be the access point of the Green Bridge, especially because the floor is green. So I assume that's why it's called the Green Bridge. Before I was kind of thinking Green Mile, okay, Green Mile because it's connecting Lumpini Park and Bangkok Park, but it kind of looks like it's legit, like actually green, not only metaphorically green. Whew. Or wait, maybe I'm wrong. Why is it going back down there? Or is that supposed to be this way? Oh no. Now I'm confused. I hope I'm right. Jesus. The scenes over Bangkok, all of the pictures, the images around here, the impressions that you can collect. I don't know. It's not something that I will ever get used to. Regardless of how many times I come to Bangkok, every time I'm ecstatic and happy. I don't know what it is about this city. It's just a very uplifting city, energy-wise. So, is this the Green Mile or no? I am still wondering. Sawadee. Sorry, Bangkok Park? This way? Okay. Khop khun kha. Thank you. Ah, good. At least the locals know where they are. Would be weird if they wouldn't know. But yeah, seems like I have made it to the right spot. This is the Green Mile, and not like the movie with Tom Hanks, and also not like the... Oh no, that was 8 Mile, the movie with Eminem. I just wanted to say, not like the movie with Tom Hanks, and not like the movie with Eminem, but the movie with Eminem is 8 Mile, I think. It's not the movie with Tom Hanks and the prisoners. It's just a walkway that connects Lumpini and Bangkok. Now I didn't expect the big electricity lines to be on top of here. Not really sure. As I kind of read that this place is used for a lot of people to work out. So you would kind of like run a loop of Lumpini, then run over the Green Mile, and then sort of finish your workout, I guess, in Bangkok. But if you're running under the electric lines, not really sure how great that is for you if you were to do that like regularly. If you're doing it only once or twice, maybe it doesn't do any harm, right? But if that is like your main weekend thing to do that you do for years and years, don't know about electricity lines. This seems to be a somewhat empty house. That's one thing that I'm noticing a lot. Oh, it was just a pigeon. One thing that I'm noticing a lot at the moment, not really sure why that is, but a lot of spaces in Bangkok seem to be empty. Now I'm not sure if that is because there's a lot of development ongoing and obviously a lot of new things are built and the businesses are just moving from the old thing into the new thing, or if that is because places are closing. Now it doesn't really seem like Bangkok or Thailand is doing bad economically. Now in terms of the bigger companies, of course, I cannot speak about mom and pop businesses. Wow. I have a typical, like, very traditional Thai looking house made out of wood. That is so beautiful. I love these types of houses. Now this time, this one here is closed in the top. I have seen a lot of these houses where it's like completely open in the top, and that sort of then provides the ventilation, but of course also lets the mosquitoes and stuff like that in, so it's better to have it closed, especially if you want to have any type of AC going or anything like that. You really need that to be closed. But it's really interesting how close you actually are to some of the very sort of, I don't know, heritage type of buildings around here. It just kind of seems like the Green Mile was just built into the local zone without maybe thinking too much. Oh, papayas! Without maybe thinking too much of the locals. I'm not really sure if they would have the choice to raise their voice or not for or against something like this happening, but this seems to be like hyper local. Of course, here in the back you have the condos, which is where foreigners would predominantly live, but these smaller houses left and right are usually the local houses. Or yeah, I don't know, you very rarely see a foreigner living in one of those unless they immigrated to Thailand in like the 90s and they had the chance to buy something like that. If we wanted to buy a house like this, it would be very, very difficult. Also, you have to consider that foreigners aren't necessarily allowed to own land, or they're not. Full stop. They're not full stop allowed to own land. I believe you can buy a place for 30 years or something like that in Thailand. So like you can have a Thai person sign the buying contract and then you're renting it off of that Thai person basically for 30 years, and then after the 30 years you can renew it if the Thai person agrees to it, of course. But yeah, it's so difficult to find houses like this in Bangkok that are on the market, because obviously a lot of Bangkok is trying to put the big condos instead of the small single family homes into areas like this, which is understandable, but also kind of sometimes takes away the charm of the neighborhoods, because this is a lot more magnificent to look at than the big condos. Also cool, you have a mosque here. Wow, kind of looks like they're flying maybe an Indonesia flag here on the side, which would make sense, Indonesia being one of the, well, the biggest Muslim nation in the world. Yeah, you have the Thai flag, you have the yellow flag, I believe that signifies the king or the monarchy, and then the Indonesian flag and some Japanese fishies here. It's a kimono cafe. Wow. That's another thing that I'm wondering if like that kimono cafe that I just saw there, if if some of the locals are maybe kind of making business out of the Green Mile. It's prayer time at the moment in the mosque. So like I'm wondering if some of the locals are maybe making business off of the Green Mile by selling things maybe on the weekends, or by having cafes, or by, you know, selling soft drinks or whatever it might be. Other than that kimono cafe there, I'm not really seeing that much. Maybe down here, like if you're actually going down, over here seems to be a small little shop that is very, very local. Usually you can tell if it's a super hyper local space by this little Sadiqa by the little glass fridge here on the side. They usually have these sort of very yellow looking energy drinks in there. He seems to be, I don't know, crafty, nifty person creating something out of the big leaves. Wow, check out how big the leaves are. This is like a, I'm probably wrong, but so to me it looks like something like a monstera type of a plant in the wild. In Europe you can buy these types of plants for your living room for like an insane amount of money, like really, really expensive. And here they're just like growing like this on the side of the Green Mile, unexpectedly. It seems like this is already getting to an end. Over there I can see a bridge. Interesting. Maybe some people who are struggling underneath the roof. Oh yeah. Really wondering if the weather is gonna hold off, or if I'm gonna make it home dry or not. Probably not. Oh yeah, some elderly uncles here. Seems like they have some food and drink too. Reading a book. Sadiqa. It is hot, hot, hot. Even though, I don't know, if you're in Bangkok and you're like not moving that much, you're just like sitting somewhere and I don't know, enjoying your day, it really doesn't seem that hot. But the second you start moving, it's like, okay, it's hot. Especially because Luke and I have been sort of living the lazy life for a good few days now, and we have just been sitting in the AC, so the heat of course feels a little bit heavier than what it necessarily should feel like. Seems like we're going over some sort of a fast street. Whew. One thing I do have to tell you though, Bangkok is one of the larger cities in Southeast Asia where you do have the chance to walk and actually move around and be active. I feel like in a lot of Southeast Asian cities, like Kuala Lumpur, like Jakarta, like whatever it might be, all of the big cities around here, really, it's really difficult to move from point A to point B on foot. So a lot of times there would be like a fence in the way in the street, or there's no pedestrianized zone, there's no sidewalk, stuff like this. Here in Bangkok it always feels like you can actually walk, which I'm so grateful for. Wondering if am I getting red? Yeah, I'm starting to get red. Looks like we made it to some sort of a side canal. Really wondering at the moment, because in the Bangkok Post yesterday they were warning about flash floods within Bangkok, and something like 40 other provinces. Whew. Looks like I called Luke. 1 second. Okay, I pocket dialed Luke and he was just like on the phone like, hello? Hello? Anyways, I made it down this bridge and I'm now at what seems to be a side arm of one of the canals. Now you can see some really old houses just across here. A lot of times along the canals, along the really local canals, you can see these types of houses, and there's even, which you won't be able to see, there's a monitor lizard under one of those houses that is a lot bigger than the last one we have seen. But yeah, what is always kind of questionable for me about these places, which is but just like part of Bangkok, I suppose. I mean, as much as I and Luke as well, we all praise Bangkok up and down all day, you also have to of course mention some negative-ish parts about Bangkok, and that is maybe something like this, with a lot of sort of garbage and very intense smells that are included in this. Now this is of course as well when it's raining a lot, all of the garbage, all of the sewage and so on, it just kind of gets swamped up. I don't really know how to say that. It kind of gets flooded and brought to the surface, and you can smell that a lot, especially standing here right now. You can imagine the smell. Now for me, I personally don't care as much. I do care, however, for the people that live in these little old houses that a lot of times might be makeshift, that might be living off of fishing in these canals, that might be, you know, just kind of sort of for generations living off of the waterways of Bangkok. And then of course the city grows, the infrastructure for the water, for the garbage, for the sewage and so on gets overwhelmed because it wasn't really built to take in this extent of everything. And then yeah, you have these situations, which is really not nice for the locals, and especially if you sort of have to live with this smell at all times. I'm not really sure if like your clothes start smelling like it, your hair starts smelling like it. Maybe after a while you stop realizing that stuff around you smells like that, but regardless, I'm sure it's not the healthiest and cleanest way of living. Again, I'm not judging, I'm just saying these are some parts of Bangkok that maybe have to be looked into as the city grows. The infrastructure, of course, for sewage, water, for garbage and so on has to grow with it. And I do believe this here, is that part of Benchikiti? Shorter road. Yeah, I do think this is part of Benchikiti. You can see the little houses here. They're for free, for basketball or tennis or whatever you want to play. Whew. I really haven't been out in a few days. I just kind of feel like, especially during rainy season, you kind of just live your best mall life, if you know what I mean. Because the weather is a bit unpredictable, so you wouldn't necessarily go out and go on long walks as I am doing right now. And the humidity is crazy as well. Whew. Really wondering. Seems like there's bubbles coming out. What is that like? Do they have some sort of a pump? Or is that just naturally occurring? It's a bit crazy, if you ask me. By the way, the electric lines that I have been talking about earlier, they disappeared, so it just kind of seems like it was just a small little part of the way, of the Green Mile, that are covered by electric lines. Just to mention, if I mention something critical, I also have to mention the positive part again, right? Can't really just criticize something and then just let it stand there by itself and not correct myself. So here, no electric lines. Now over here, It seems like there might be some internet cables again, but we're getting sort of closer and closer. I do believe for the past kind of 500 meters I've been walking alongside Bangkok Kitty Park. I just have to figure out how to enter it. I think maybe if I go around here to the right, I should be able to go in. And also, yes, the grey weather is still there. It's still very cloudy, but now it's sort of the bird. And now it's sort of sunny and cloudy at the same time, which is alright. I'm kind of happy for when it's not so sunny. It's kind of cute, no? The white bridge. They also have a funny looking bird down here. I keep pointing out things that are very, very difficult to see on a wide angle lens camera. But hey, if you have good eyes, maybe you can see them. Or I'm gonna try and zoom in, I don't know. Oh, this time I shoot the water bird away. They're kind of lurking all over these areas with the canals, the larger water birds, also the smaller water birds, just looking to catch some fish or some insects or whatever they can find. Now, welcome to Bangkok Kitty Park. Entered at the dog park side of it. Sawadee. Here, this part is the designated dog area where you can like walk your dog and also pick up some plastic bags and stuff like that. And then you have massive area here to the right. There's also some I believe kind of like swamp mangrove type of area of Bangkok Kitty Park in the middle of this giant city that is called Bangkok. I don't know how do people do this, like no other city manages to incorporate the nature quite this well. You see as well here, like you have the normal pathways and then you have water plants that are growing massively with beautiful flowers. Lots of little bees. You can see on this one here there's a little black Asian bee. Spiders, insects, everything. I don't know. As much as Bangkok is developed, the nature here is, I'm sure 40, 50 years ago it was obviously probably a lot more flourishing and a lot bigger and a lot more nature around here. But considering how many people live in Bangkok, how much development there is, that this is still going on is really incredible. And I do believe that the government and the locals and everybody around here puts in a lot of effort to keep this alive and keep this going. And of course it also creates a lot of jobs because somebody has to look after these areas. If you don't look after them, oh, there's a little birdie. Oh, he was just sunbathing. Oh, for a second I thought that the birdie was hurt or something. Oh, thank God, he was okay. I already saw me coming home with a birdie in a box, and Luke, I'm sure Luke would have been delighted to get a little injured birdie. No, I'm sure he would actually not have a problem with it. But it would be very typical of me to come home with something that needs looking after, that nobody asked for. But yeah, the birdie was okay, thank God. What I was talking about was the incorporation of nature into a large city like Bangkok. There's not that many cities out there that do it this well, actually. I feel like Mexico City does a really good job of doing this too. I don't know, other than that, not that many cities out there. So of course definitely not in the Western world. I mean, we do incorporate nature, but like in a different way, if you know what I mean. Of course, if you look at New York, they have the Central Park, but it's like the Central Park and that's it really for New York, right? There's no big green areas other than that one big green area. So Bangkok kind of manages to connect a lot of green areas with each other where nature can flourish and still has a space which you can also see at the pure existence of monitor lizards and stuff like that. A lot of times as well, if you go to sort of the suburban areas of Bangkok, you can see monkeys and birds, fish in every single waterway, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, as bad as the rivers sometimes smell, there's so much life in there, so I'm not actually sure how much damage has been done to those waterways. Right now, I'm also not sure how to get out of this Benchy Kitty dog area. I kind of think, like, if I wanted to go to the Sukhumvit MRT, I think it's there. If I'm not completely delusional now, I guess I will have to walk this way out of the dog park to the main street and then to the left. Just going for a walk in Bangkok really makes you feel like you went on a full-blown hike. That's how like physically taxing it is because of the weather. And you do get used to it, like, don't get me wrong. If we have Luke and I, because of how long we have spent in and around Asia, if we go to anything below 25 degrees Celsius, both of us are actually struggling. So yeah, I'm very grateful for Bangkok's weather. But people like to complain, and so do I. I love complaining. Everybody loves complaining. So this is the other side of... I was just in the dog park without a dog. Here you also have this giant lake. There are these little paddle boats as well in the back, kind of similar to Lumpini. And then I believe here on the back side you can... Wait, let's cross the street. Let's not walk on the traffic, in the traffic areas. There in that backside that I just pointed at, I believe you have some sort of mangrove type of areas growing there. But yeah, well, didn't actually think I would manage to find this Green Mile. So if you are looking to find it on your Google Maps, you can put in Green Mile, but then it sort of gives you different suggestions. If you put in, there's a car. Pedestrian first. Not in his case. If you put in the Green Bridge, you will find it. It's kind of just sort of, if you get off at Silom, you have to diagonally cross through Lumpini, and then you will find the Green Bridge on the exit. Basically, it's very easy to find though. It just, Luke and I never found it or never thought of getting on that bridge because there's no sign. There's no sign that says this is the Green Bridge. So we were always just kind of like, where's this Green Bridge? Alright, we are in the Sukhumvit area. I have a green light, but nobody's stopping. Oh wait. Thank you, somebody stopped. Yeehaw! We can walk. These last few meters I actually have to look up where I'm going, but it's just straight, so it wasn't necessarily that much of a need to look up the way, but just to be on the safe side, because I'm not that great with navigating the Sukhumvit area. I'm just seeing here now Sukhumvit, the MRT, the blue MRT station also has an entry here. The Google Maps wanted to guide me down that way to the other side. Oh yeah, this is the main, okay, now I know where I am. This is the main Sukhumvit area. Just there to the left should be Terminal 21, I believe. And this is the Asok BTS, just on top. Okay, I figured out where I am. I don't know why, like every time I'm in the Sukhumvit area, I'm just like, I don't know where I am. Not very good at navigating this part because, I don't know, there's just not that much reason for Luke and myself to come here other than maybe interchanging with the BTS line. Other than that, we're not coming here that many times, if you know what I mean. Let's cross the street without getting hurt. So yeah, and we are back at the blue MRT line. Now, This Green Mile has been actually a really nice walk. Was also not too far. It was just from Praram Khao, so from Rama 9 all the way here, through Benchakiti, through Lumpini, through everything. 1 second. Just walking through security, don't really feel like vlogging. So anyway, this entire path from Praram Khao to Lumpini, the Green Mile, Benchakiti, coming back to Sukhumvit has been just about 5 kilometers. So it's not actually that much, but yeah, very, very nice walk if you're looking to just sort of get out and walk for a while, maybe not so much in the traffic, if you know what I mean. Alright, you guys, I made it back home to Rama 9, and I'm gonna sit down now and edit this very video because I will have to upload it for tomorrow. It's a little bit of like a last minute mission, I want to say, especially because we're gonna go out later tonight to the owl market with the Dufresnes and with Sarah. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But for now, thank you so much for spending the early afternoon with me, and as always I appreciate you very much and love you. Bye.